Welcome back to KC Talks EV. So I'm now here at the Rotherham show. Now, another thing that you will notice is, and this will be in the next coming video, is that I'm actually borrowing a Maxus e-Deliver free. So I've taken it down here to the Rotherham show. So in this video, I'm just going to give you a general outline of what's sort of happening around at the Rotherham show here, or EVs up north, as we like to call it. And then finally, I'm going to hopefully get a few owner reviews about their vehicle. So we're going to discuss maybe their experience with EVs. So let's go and check it out. Okay, just like every other Yorkshire EV Club video, we always do a owner interview. So this is Lee, and he's got an MG5. So start us off. How have you enjoyed it? When did you purchase it, etc.?
So this is a year and 2 months old. It's just been through its first service. So enjoying it. It's a brilliant car. It's the best car I've ever had, I would say. And I'm loving the driving experience. It's just simple and easy to drive. You get in, fully automatic, and away you go. So quiet and just so smooth to drive.
Excellent. So we were talking just previously about what you had previously. So would you care to maybe talk a little bit more, and then you can maybe talk about, you know, how much it cost you before and how much it costs you now?
Yeah. So I had a BMW 220 Sport before. Again, it's a similar shape, style, body, estate type. The MG5 is the really only EV that you can get as an estate shaped car. In terms of value for money, when I worked out the pence per mile, it was 14p to run the BMW per mile. The mileage that I'm doing in this is 2 pence a mile. Just the equivalent for charging for electric, and that includes my charging at public charging stations, which are chargeable rather than at the home charging as well. So all that's included. So that's saving me sort of 12 pence a mile. Yeah,
12 pence a mile, I think. I mean, that compares very favourably, because interestingly, since I'm interviewing another MG owner, I can now talk a bit more about my ZS EV. I think on the 40,000 mile optic video, which I will link up, I think it was 2.4, 2.5p a mile. So yeah, it really is quite a big saving.
Yeah.
To be honest, I'm almost impressed that the BMW did 14p a mile. I mean, when I did the maths on my Hyundai now, it would be close enough to 18p a mile. So I guess in a way, has your sort of lifestyle changed much since going from the BMW to here, or are we still doing it for commutes and things?
Yeah, it has changed. Obviously, COVID's had a massive impact. I used to commute to work. Even after post-COVID, we still are not going back to work. So I'm using this car much less than I did use the BMW. So daily, the most of the time, it's on my drive, plugged into my Zappy charger and charging from the solar panel. So that's another reason why I'm getting really good cost savings.
That's yeah, I was about to say about that. So you have solar, and obviously that means you can actually plug in and utilize that, which you know will drive your costs down quite a bit. Not to mention, you know, environmentally speaking, it's also quite good.
Yeah, it's brilliant, charging from the sun.
Yeah,
can't get any better.
Exactly. So essentially, it has changed quite a bit, but even if it, for example, went back to normal, would it be able to suit your needs? I mean, how long was your commute?
Yeah, so 22 miles to work, so 22-mile round trip to work. So this car does, it says in the book 214 miles. Realistically, I get around about 180 miles from a full charge.
Wow, okay, yeah.
I never fully charge it. I might charge it once a week, and I usually charge it when it gets to 35% state of charge. Using the Octopus Go tariff overnight, the 4 hours there, it gives me up to about 8% from 35. And that's where the cost savings from, getting the cheaper EV tariffs.
Yes, that I think I can echo as well. The fact is that I think with nowadays, especially with the wholesale rates, it can be a little bit questionable, I think, if you went on the standard variable rate. But if you go onto an EV specific tariff like Octopus Go Faster, you do tend to save quite a lot.
Yeah, and they are doing them from other suppliers as well. There's EDF, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And I think even British Gas are doing an EV tariff as well. So there's not just Octopus, there are others that you can get from.
Yeah, most certainly. So you do have some level of choice on that. I guess in a way, the final question is, because you also talked about, you know, in terms of your range and things, I mean, what kind of long distance journeys have you gone? Because I know a lot of viewers will kind of want to know, you know, have you been on any sort of long distance journeys?
Yeah, I don't go very often. And again, that's the common thing. The people just do local trips most of the time. So I went to the British Motor Museum. That were a fairly lengthy.
Yeah,
trip.
that's quite long. Yeah, that's to not Coventry. Oxford.
Just south of Birmingham.
Yes, south of Birmingham.
Yeah. So I drove down there. Majority of the time, I charged it. We stopped overnight, a couple of days, and I charged it at Tesco for free. Most of the, you know, we went and had us lunch in Tesco. Did a little bit of shopping for while we were staying, and then just charged it on the free charge at Tesco.
You're not the first person to mention that, actually, and the last person that I spoke to on a video about this, they also mentioned our Lord and Saviour Pod Point chargers.
Pod Point, yeah.
Another thing to also mention actually is that Pod Point do have paid for rapid chargers, which is really good as well. You know, for example, if you wanted to go have a shot for half an hour, your car would be, you know, 80-90% charged by then. Yeah,
and I've been looking at the Zap map because I'm going to Watford next month because we're going to Harry Potter studio tour.
Oh, excellent! Yeah.
So yeah, I've been looking at charging because Pod Point's a reasonable cost for the rapid chargers.
Very reasonable
so
now.
I think it's 25p per kilowatt hour. So I've been using a better route planner, Zap map, one of these apps. To plan the journey, and I've already planned the journey, and that's probably the main difference coming from a diesel BMW to an electric MG, is you're just planning your journeys better, so that you know where you're going to go, you know where you're going to stop, and it just relieves that range anxiety. If there isn't any range anxiety, I mean, I've driven this car for a year and 2 months, and yeah, perhaps when I first got it, I was a bit nervous about running out, and I actually did a test of what would happen when I run it flat.
Okay.
So I run it down to 3% and it comes up with turtle mode, and obviously I were in the local area, so yeah. I knew I could get back home. And again, that was just an experience that I thought, yeah, I need to try this so that I know what's going to happen in that eventuality.
That's excellent. I mean, as you mentioned, at the end of the day, it's just a little bit of planning just can settle basically all your range anxiety. If I'm honest, I think in a way it has kind of made me think that in reality, when I drove my petrol car, I didn't really go on a long distance journey without doing any form of planning. At some point in time, I probably would have said that I would have stopped at some point. So actually for me, I don't know whether it would be the same for you, but for me, I did a little bit more planning, but I didn't necessarily start planning journeys necessarily. I mean, you know, you're going to Harry Potter World, for example, which you know is down in Watford. I mean, would you do that spontaneously? I mean,
probably not. But with petrol and diesel, you've got the assurance that there's going to be a petrol station there.
Yeah,
now,
that is true.
Being a Yorkshireman, I'd want to avoid motorway service stations because of the extra markup that they put on there.
Oh yeah, of course.
So I would do some planning, but not as much as I do with the electric car. But there's Zap map and a better route planner. They're just brilliant apps. Every EV driver should have them at least.
Yeah.
Because they just tell you how long you're going to get. It knows what make of car that you've got. You put your details in, and then it can plan where you need to stop and charge.
And I've mentioned it before on the channel as well. ABRP and ZapMap are the best in terms of those. In fact, if you're a beginner, I'd actually recommend more ABRP than ZapMap. But most certainly, it just takes all the hassle out of a long distance journey. You know exactly where you're going, exactly where you're charging.
Yeah.
So hopefully you enjoy yourself at the Harry Potter Studios in Watford. I've never been, if I'm honest, but I haven't really been a particular Harry Potter fan, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's a trip that my wife's taking me on for my birthday. So.
Ah, I see. Well, happy birthday to you for that as well.
Yeah, thank you.
So is there anything else?
No, I think that's it.
Excellent. So you can catch Lee on the Yorkshire EV Club every so often as well. But thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for the Rotherham Show, or EVs Up North 2022. Now, we are planning on doing this once a year when the Rotherham Show is on, so make sure you come and check us out next year. So if you liked the video, please like it, dislike it if you didn't. Please share this video to anyone who is considering coming to one of our EV meets or our Yorkshire EV Club. I will leave the link in the video description. So I think that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching, and I will talk to you later.